Yesterday, let's lock in for a second. Yesterday, we were going over Amouranth's, response, which was basically, oh, I guess I'm not allowed to question the behavior of people if they belong to a specific group, even if I've shown support for that group in the past. Which, hey, I don't think it's the, you're not allowed to criticize certain groups or certain people if they belong to a marginalized group. It's more of a, I don't think we should be saying that certain people should be dying in wildfires, especially when they are, part of a marginalized group, but especially when you're looking at a video of that marginalized group saying, hey, we are under attack and we are not going to, just let you trample all over our rights. If anything, that video that Asmon was looking at that has now just been, the centerpiece of him departing from OTK and now Amouranth, on her right-wing shit, that video was a declaration of self-defense, right? The video itself, let me pull it up, right? Because I saw a really good take on it from Lyra on Twitter. Let's see. Oop, there it is. I saw a really good take on it, right? Here's the clip.
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space. If you say...
Okay. This is a declaration of self-defense. Like, we are not going to be pushed back into the closet. We're not going to be forced to detransition. If we, as part of this community, are told that we are just going to have to accept being attacked, we are going to fight back. If anything, that's the most American thing you could say, right? Right to self-defense, bitch. Okay? Shall not be infringed. All that. And they're valid for it. And I've described in detail, but people just apparently don't get it. If you're focused on the aesthetics of this, right? That they're wearing a wig, that they're wearing crazy makeup, that they're dressed flamboyantly, but you don't hear and listen to what they're saying and intentionally try to misconstrue it, you're choosing to do that. That's a choice. It's not a, oh, I'm just lost in my transphobia. No. You're choosing to do that. It doesn't take much thought to recognize, okay, they are trying to be as visible as possible by dressing the way that they're dressing, right? Some people dress like this on the daily. Who cares? Right? We've all been to like a reception desk and the person sitting at the reception is like dressed crazily, right? We've all done that. Been there. You pull up to the drive-thru window at your local Whataburger and you're like, God damn, you are really dressed up. Sometimes people do, but in this case, it's peacocking. They're trying to be visible, to bring light to an issue. If anything, it's war paint, if you want to think of it that way. But if you're not listening to them, that's a choice. That's a direct decision to go, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm not going to hear the words you're saying, and I'm going to misinterpret what you're putting out there to push my message. I'm going to take your platform. But this was a great take from Lyra. This clip is a declaration of self-defense. They're only saying violence could occur if violence is first committed against them. To make a place unsafe for trans people and not support them to fight back is atrocious. You didn't just question their behavior. You implied these activists should have burned in the LA wildfires, which is actually horrible. Sex workers have always stood with LGBTQ rights, which includes activists fighting for safe spaces, and will continue to do so. Great take. Great take. And here, go show some support for this person. Go like it. Go drop a follow if you want. Lyra is a excellent content creator. Call to defense just gets interpreted in the worst way from the opposite side, though. The whole reason this has escalated like it has. Well, Dalai Lama. I like to hear from both sides. Dalai Lama. They wouldn't have to declare their need for self-defense if there wasn't a need for self-defense. You know, there's kind of a causal reality here. If they're being told that their existence will be criminalized, I agree there's always going to be push and shove. Sure, but we should be recognizing that the core of the issue is not their threat to violence. People make the mistake of thinking that politics is about compromise. It's not. It's about power. That's all it is. Politics is war without bloodshed, and war is politics with bloodshed. No, it's not exactly. No, it is about power. All systems of governance are authoritarian. These are just degrees. Like, what she's doing is political violence. She is. But the thing about it is, it's fine. When you, and chat, don't at this person, okay? When you go out and protest, when you're marching in the street, that is political violence. You are making people uncomfortable. You are disrupting. You are blocking traffic. If you have a sanctioned parade route with your city, then you are, like, you know, disrupting their day. You are taking away resources. That is political violence. Because it's on a spectrum. It's not a line that you cross and now you're in the political violence section. No. All politics is power. All politics is violence. It's just a question of where that power lies, who holds it, and where it's directed. All protests are violence. The oppressor sets the standard. That's right. That's right. When a cop fires a smoke grenade or a tear gas grenade into a crowd, that's not violent. But whenever you kick that back, that's violent. It's set by the ones who have the power. And currently, all marginalized groups in this country don't have power. As a broader collective, they don't have power. There's people like Clarence Thomas, who is a black man, right? And he is in the Supreme Court. He is also a traitor to all of the people who come from backgrounds like his. A direct traitor. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, you know? Now there's like caste involved in like Vivek Ramaswamy's position, but he is an Indian American. He's South Asian, and there are a lot of South Asian people in this country who ain't doing that great. Yet here he is, rug pulling pharmaceutical companies, trying to run for Ohio Senate now. My point is, to get back to this, Amouranth said yesterday, I guess I'm not allowed to question the behavior of quote-unquote activists who threaten to incite violence against their own community without being accused of hating the group affiliation that they happen to belong to. If only that was the thing that she did. If only that was the thing that she did. And if only that was what those activists were doing. But unfortunately, you know, we can just make shit up as if we didn't see the clip. So she made this effort post. We'll go over it. Y'all keep referencing sides and saying the word grift like you're playing a video game, and how on the character screen it's utterly frictionless to pick a different face. What? Y'all are the real two-faced fucks. Total brain rot. Keep self-reporting. I just call it like I see it. Ah. Classic. I just also double spacing. It's weird. Like after your period, like you're double spacing. What is that? I just call it like I see it. I don't have an agenda or some master plan to appeal to another demographic. I have made so much fucking money that the incremental dollar doesn't make me compromise in the way you might. Anyone that thinks that switching political allegiance is some kind of profitable behavior is just projecting. There is, for someone like Asmon, if you want to go independent, or if you just enjoy doing right-wing commentary for the love of the game, it doesn't matter. For someone like Amouranth, it also doesn't matter because the consequences are the same. There is certainly a permission structure that has existed for a period of time where you can't just pivot hard right and start saying the most unhinged shit that, you know, Caitlyn and Zach are saying now, Amouranth and Asmon, and keep your audience. You'll alienate them. Ethan is a good example of this, where you have already pre-established that you have a somewhat progressive audience. And then you brought in more progressive people, and now you're hemorrhaging. The problem is, Ethan didn't have a pre-established, straight-up reactionary audience. If Amouranth wants to do what she's doing, she's going to find the same thing that Ethan is. There's going to be plenty of right-wingers that are, you know, going to flock to her if she wants to keep going down this road, but Asmon already had that pre-established. Sweaty gamer, World of Warcraft classic enjoyer, you know, older audience. He's already there. They're scaring the hoes, the progressive hoes. True. These people were progressive though. They never weren't progressive though. Or wait, what? These people were progressive though. They never were. I think you're trying to say weren't. Her net worth is about 20 to 25 mil. So there's barely. So she's barely over the rich/wealthy tier in today's current economy. I mean, she's in Texas. She's in Texas. She's wealthy. She's got 3 gas stations. She's got a multi-million-dollar, broader company that she operates. She's wealthy, right? She's got turnkey operations, basically. 3 gas stations? Yes. But you don't get it, Grimlo. You can't be mean to conservatives because that's against their free speech. Yeah, well, I'm against their free speech. Maybe for a political streamer, cough, cough, grifter, the economics make sense. But for my segment of the market, it's not financially rewarding to speak your mind. Literally, people making jokes about how they watch my stream on mute. You're thinking I'm doing this for money says more about you than it does about me. This is not the own you think it is, Caitlyn. This is not the deflection from the allegations that you think it is. There is way more money in right-wing grifting. You're a savvy businesswoman. I'll give you that. Like she's savvy. She knows like how to market. She does. And I know she knows that there's way more money there than there is in progressive advocacy. There just is. If you start coming out and saying, you know, trans rights, you start coming out and saying, you know, free Palestine, yeah, you're going to lose some sponsorships. You're going to lose a lot of brand deals. Especially now. The vast majority of sex workers are very progressive. Like, I will stand on this. The vast majority of them are. There have been plenty of sex workers that have done the exact same thing that she's doing right now, and it didn't work out. GOP wants her to ban her lines of work and will jail her for it. Sure. That much is certain.
Here's what I do: kicking, biting, fighting, and
going. I have money already. Why would I grift this crazy work? Considering people who pivot to the right do it all the time. She knows better. Anyone saying she doesn't is ignoring just how busy, savvy, and smart she really is. When you see her in interviews, she's going to garner Nazis if she keeps this type of rhetoric going.
Here's what I do: kicking,
a lot of
biting,
bad should happen.
And property theft.
Mike, thank you for the 6 months. I'm going to mute the notifications for a second, chat.
Happened in the Holocaust, and I don't think
what
a lot of bad should happen in the Holocaust.
Sure.
And I don't think the Jewish people in general deserved that kind of torture. But at the same time, the act of getting people out of your country, if you don't think they should be there as a leader, I agree with, like, if they're illegal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like, there was a line, they kind of crossed it, but for a while there, you know, it was the idea when people are like, this is like the Nazis. Like, I mean, sure, the first part, but what do you think? You think that just because we're getting people out of the country means that we're going to torture them? I would say being in the country is the kind of torture. These people don't look happy here. They kind of seem like they're already
earned a
tortured.
lot of stuff. It's both, yeah. And no, a lot. And I wish.
This is Nazi rhetoric. It is Nazi rhetoric. And the unfortunate part is a lot of people think this way. Like, this is stuff I've heard from, like, people in my social circles. Not, like, friends of mine, but, like, coworkers and shit. Like, this is a pretty... This is the... Oh, yeah, Hitler was bad, but, you know, he also was, like, a really smart general. You know, he, like, helped the German economy. This is, like, the American understanding of what Hitler was. But also, because Amouranth has stayed away from, like, politics for so long, she doesn't even know what the talking points are. She doesn't even know how to weave between endorsing Nazi sentiment and given the, I'm just, you know, asking questions, okay? This is a result of natural belief? Right. Right. I think this is more of a mask slipping moment. This is the excuse Trump is also giving right now for wanting to take over the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians don't even want to be there. They would never want the return if they had the chance. Right. That also is true. Doodle, you're correct. This is liberalism pandering to fascism in real time. I mean, in some certain ways, yes. But I think this is more so just again, an honest moment from Caitlyn here. An honest moment where she's like, yeah, migrants, non-white people, you know, hey, if the country says that we don't want them here, then, you know, I support that. Hey, the majority of the country doesn't support this. Like, you are in the top, like, 10% of earners, or 20% of earners in this country. Like, your status doesn't even represent the majority of this country. Where's the rest of this? I'm certainly not against any group or affiliation. To a fault, I have never been able to see beyond what is right in front of me, and what I saw was a person threatening violence indiscriminately in a town hall setting to their community, no less, to their own community, no less, and many others acting in a manner unbecoming. What I don't understand about this is you are a sex worker. The Republican Party wants to outlaw pornography writ large, wants to outlaw escorting, wants to outlaw OnlyFans, wants to outlaw Pornhub, wants to outlaw, like, lewd behavior in public, which is strictly to, like, directly target, like, visible trans people and queer folk, like, purity laws. This admin and the sentiment that they propagate throughout the public is not one that is good for you and your career. In a strictly self-interested perspective, why would you be on this shit if not to try and make a little bit of extra cash before this shit gets outlawed? Does she actually identify as a sex worker, though? There's this superiority complex in those circles between OF models and other sex workers. I mean, whether she self-identifies as a sex worker or not, she falls into that category. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, sex work is a broad category, right? Like, if you're doing, like, lewd cosplay, you are technically a sex worker, right? Like, if you're selling prints, if you got a Patreon, you know, you got an OF where you post, like, you know, a lewd, non-nude, you know, no sex acts or anything like that, but it's just, it's sexy. That's sex work. It's what it is, right? Like, trad wife content creators on TikTok, that's sex work. They're doing fetish content. Whether people want to identify that or not, I mean, you know, if they don't identify that, if I'm talking to a person who doesn't identify that way, then I won't refer to them that way, but it is what it is. Slutty Gambit cosplay, perhaps? Yes, like when I do a Slutty Gambit cosplay, that is sex work. Yeah, you don't have to show vulva or nipple to be considered sex work. Exactly. Facebook reels of sport bras in action on a treadmill. I mean, it kind of. She states she knows the social policy of Trump is bad for her. She just claims to be a single issue voter on taxes, but she's not. It contradicts herself. Let's see. Let's continue. Where was I? It was unbecoming. Do you think everyone at that town hall deserved to be violently threatened? Okay. Do you think everyone in the trans community deserves to be violently threatened when they're cracking down on gender-affirming care? I have the same take for this that I do when it comes to something like, you know, Yemen or Sudan or Gaza. I do not critique the table manners of starving people. Feed them, then we can talk. I am not going to critique the ways that marginalized groups resist oppression. I will say, don't bring guns to a protest, but that's about it. She's fallen off pretty hard, and I checked out her kick stream the other day, and she had like 1K viewers. Okay, like view count Andy on her streams doesn't matter. Okay, her revenue stream is not like is not subscriptions on her live streams. That's not where the bread is buttered. The context that my detractors, with your head in the sand so far up your own asses, miss is the following quote from the clip I shared. If you say you're afraid of Trump and that's why, then you better prepare for trans people to make it a very unsafe place. Yeah. Who does this target? Who does this threat target? Not Trump, who they profess to hate, not his supporters, who they would consider birds of a feather. No, they don't make their violent threats against those people. Instead, they explicitly threaten the people who, under duress, might accede to a position that they are against. Those are the people that they go after. Innocent bystanders just trying to avoid the crossfire at all costs. You can't even defend them by saying that they are merely callous in their acceptance of who might be collateral damage. They singled out specifically the fellow citizens in their own community. Is the idea here that if we block gender-affirming care, or we outlaw being like visibly trans, or, you know, being like vocally trans, that they're just gonna start like lining up people against the wall in their community? Like, what is the fear here? What is the proposition? Because that's not at all what they were saying. They were declaring self-defense, that they're not going to just be like culturally or physically erased. Song Grey Name Chatter Take? Really though, this is like a pancake waffle moment. Like, it really is. This is straight up pancake waffling on the timeline. The point is, we understand the nuance. She's stupid, so it's a violent call to them. All rules are off. This explains it. I don't think like she's that stupid. I don't think she's stupid at all. I think that this is just, you had a really bad take, and now you are trying to obfuscate from the bad take by pointing at the people that you were trying to make into victims. You're running away. That's it. Trying to make it about something else. She's really self-centered and self-serving, obviously. I mean, clearly from this, regular, isn't that literally the definition of domestic terrorism? No. No, it's not the definition of domestic terrorism. As a matter of fact, the definition of domestic terrorism is what's happening to the trans community. Like, what? No, the definition of what they're doing there is self-defense. Noted domestic terrorist Martin Luther King, right? Declaring self-defense against organized violence is not terrorism. Yeah, it's resistance. Regular folks just living their lives in your vicinity, that's who you want to single out and make feel unsafe. That's quite literally the trans people. This is like to say that they're not regular people, that they're not people at all. It's mind-boggling that you guys refuse to condemn this. Some of y'all are saying, well, they are justified in ... Bro, even in war, there is just in bello. You don't get to target non-combatants, bystanders, no matter what your cause is, period. Some lines you just don't cross, and I will defend that till my dying breath. Oh, so brave. And that's what crossroad we find ourselves in. Some of you actually believe that you can justify what is said by a wannabe domestic terrorist threatening a town hall meeting in their own community. Lastly, I just want to say that I am the happiest, most fulfilled that I have ever been in my life, and I see through the bullshit. Some of you I could write your tweets before you even tweeted them. You cry grifter and tried to tar and feather me, but I was merely, albeit not adroitly, I have never had the gift of being good with words, trying to convey the illusion that, what? Yeah, maybe the bad people who are threatening their own neighbors who they claim are frozen in fear already by promising to give them something more extreme to fear, maybe those aforementioned people can reap what they sow. What the ever-loving fuck have we become if instead of singling out and condemning explicitly bad people threatening bad things, we shield them behind a phalanx of their group identity and we revile those who attempt to denounce them? Girl, log off. Who said the people in that meeting were going to attack innocent bystanders? She's just gish galloping, moving from the point about how how they're terrorists. They threaten people at the meeting. They have no goals in mind, just mindless violence. Yeah, me when I'm super unbothered chatting. Yeah. War is a militarized conflict between two nation states. This is oppression. Any action, and I do mean any to include the most vile and horrendous, are justified to throw off the oppressors. I mean, for sure, like, especially when we're thinking about it through the lens of history. Whether we're talking about the Nat Turner Rebellion, whether we're talking about Haymarket, Stonewall, like the Rodney King riots, all of these things, BLM, all of these instances of non-state violence was directed at the state. And because we are in capitalism, the state and private enterprises are directly linked to one another. When you hear someone be like, oh man, they're throwing windows through a Starbucks, like how's that, freeing people from police violence? Well, considering that it's the police that come to break up, striking workers at Starbucks, considering that it's Starbucks that puts locks on doors so that unhoused people can't come in and use the bathroom, I don't know. It feels like these corporations are, kind of participating in the same shit. Throwing windows is base. What did I say? Did I say throwing windows? Sorry, throwing shit through a window. Corporations are causing economic violence. Yeah, not only are they causing economic violence, they're causing direct violence because companies like Nestle and Starbucks utilize slave labor in the third world. Is property damage violence? Yes. Yes, property damage is violent. I think anyone who tells you it's not is coping. It is. But what is that violence directed towards, and why is that violence manifesting are important questions to ask. Damage this property? Yeah. Here. Oh my god, dude, it's incredibly frustrating because we're going to have to deal with this. Buckle in, because there's going to be more of this from more streamers because they will feel emboldened. This happened in 2017. It's going to continue to happen. There are going to be more people in spaces like this that we have kind of won over the last 5 years as progressives that are going to be more comfortable. And I call on Twitch. I call on every top level streamer. I call on Twitch, the company, to make it clear this is not allowed here. Now I know Twitch as a company has to make the calculus of if we go after people who are endorsing violence against minorities, well, we have to go after people who are endorsing, resistance against that oppression that could be construed as violence. If that's the line you want to take, go for it. Go ahead and start banning people for saying, nah, I'm not going to let my community be attacked. I'm not going to let people who are already marginalized be further marginalized. Go ahead, start doing it. Because that's the calculus that they're making right now, I'll tell you that much, for why they haven't given Asmongold the boot. That if they kick Asmongold, then they got to kick someone like Hassan. Go ahead and make that argument. Dan Clancy, make that argument. Make that statement that, endorsement for violence against minority groups is acceptable on your platform. Because it's not like he is not in violations of the terms of service. I've said for a while that I would like to have a conversation with Dan Clancy and the Trust and Safety team about what is allowed when it comes to people who are doing news broadcasting, that are doing political commentary, because there are times when you're going to show some stuff that is violent, that is, graphic, but put in its proper context, could be permissible and could be abused. But if we're talking about people who are endorsing straight up like legalized discrimination, or even discrimination that is strictly, you know, subverting the law, but done regardless. And people are like, yeah, well, sucks to suck. I don't know, man. I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. You can have all the, you know, Black Brilliance tags and LGBTQ creator highlights that you want, but you still don't have MENA people on your demographic surveys. You still are putting down people who are pro-Palestinian. You fucking banning people off the platform for having hammer and sickle emotes. Still haven't gotten back to me on that. So like what? Is Twitch gonna be a part of that, you know, that subversion? Are they gonna be a part of that? I ain't heard about that one. Yeah, a community member got banned for having a hammer and sickle emote. I mean, I think, yeah, if you're like on a platform like Twitch and you're saying like, man, oh man, I hate black people. Oh, I hate, you know, Asian people. Yeah, like you should be fucking banned. The fuck hammer plus sickle equals banned? Yes, I talked to the person who got banned, and I tried to, as a partner, like reach out to Trust and Safety, but for some reason Trust and Safety is not listening in the email and not reading them properly because I'm saying it's not me that was banned, because they're like, hey, you can appeal this, and I'm like, no, it's not me, it's someone else. Hate speech is not protected on Twitch. I mean, it's the inverse. Hate speech is protected on Twitch. Hate speech is allowed on Twitch. You're more likely to catch a perma as a chatter doing hate speech than you are as a streamer. Now, a lot of the streamers who do the hate speech try and, you know, stay inside the TOS, and if there was any like real desire to tackle that from the company, there will be a lot of people who aren't on this platform. Grimlow, I thought we were nice to brunch liberals here. No, we are. We are. You know, there's just a line. Saddest part is the saddest part in all this, Amouranth will eventually be targeted by the same people she is shielding by this communication. Yeah, I mean, that is the other part of this. It's like, you might get endorsements by a lot of right-wing content creators. You might be able to go on Fresh and Fit, but trust, they're not on your side. And people in the broader, like, you know, queer space on Twitch, a lot of women who are not sex workers, but, you know, support sex workers regardless, they've defended you against, justifiably, mind you, defended you justifiably against unwarranted attacks, myself included. And those people that have attacked them are going to go after you too. You're not on the team. Cut this shit out. Be a fucking adult about this. This is childish as fuck. Own up to it. Like, straight up. Like, that is one of the more frustrating parts about it. I know we like to goof around, and we have a ridiculous career path that we've all chosen as streamers, and we are, like, extremely privileged, so we can goof around a lot. But, like, be a fucking adult about it. Own up to it. Same with Asmongold. Same with Nick Merckx. You got a fucking kid, Nick Merckx. Like, be a goddamn adult. Grow up. You still defend her rightfully about misogyny? Yes, and I still will. I still will. Like, whenever she's getting misogynist attacks, like, we perma-banned someone yesterday. We timed someone out for a week yesterday in the chat that was, you know, being like, oh, she's just a dumb bimbo. Get that shit the fuck out of my face. First of all, bimbo's rights. Second of all, dumb. No. Thirdly, fuck off with that. Her being shit doesn't justify that. Yeah, it's like the tactical misogyny is not the mood. Not the vibe. She's manipulative and grifting. I mean, the way I view grifting, right, to this, like, the idea of, like, oh man, she's on a grift. The way I view grifting, right, how I know when someone's, you know, doing that is being cynical, right, where they know that they don't believe in or care about the shit that they're talking about, and they are intentionally weaponizing people's anger and frustrations and bigotry in order to, like, gain more prominence in a given space. That's how I, like, look at grifting, right? I don't see that in this. I see that in Asmon, right? I do believe that Asmon genuinely believes the bigoted things he's saying, but I think he's doing what he's doing in order to gain more money and more prominence in the right-wing space. I don't think Amouranth is doing this for the bag. I think that there is just a erosion of certain permission structures that now, you know, she just feels more comfortable saying it. Twitch, like many other platforms, has policies against hate symbols, including those associated with mass murder and oppressive regimes. However, while symbols like the swastika are rightfully banned due to their association with historical atrocities, the hammer and sickle, representing communism, remains widely tolerated. This is a glaring inconsistency given the immense human suffering caused by communist regimes. Now, I will say this much. To the point of, like, you know, being critical but not allowing misogyny, if I catch any of you in the replies here being gross, being weird about it, okay, you can go somewhere else, okay? If I catch you in her replies, in her comments, if she's live on Twitch or whatever, and I see you there and you're being gross, you're not allowed in this stream. I want to see Lyra's comment here. Y'all keep calling me a grifter, but I have made so much fucking money that I can't possibly be a grifter. That's how much money I have made. Anyway, fuck trans people trying to have safe spaces. Lyra back at it again, dude. She's on top of it.